Pretty good weather around the Quad Cities on our Saturday. A lot of sunshine. Now there's a little bit of a front coming off of Lake Michigan. It's not going to give us any bad weather or anything like that, but it will drop the temperature in the Quad Cities here a little bit later tonight. Notice in Sterling it's 57, Rockford is 56, and in the Quad Cities we've just gone from the 70s back down into the 60s. So the forecast first, well, here's what we're looking at. Clear skies, nice morning coming up, and then great weather on the way for tomorrow, for Mother's Day. I'll get you the rest of that forecast in just a couple of minutes on our Quad Cities News at 10.
Now, from the heart of the Quad Cities, you're watching our Quad Cities News at 10 on Local 4.
Happy Saturday night. We hope you're enjoying your weekend. Well, the White House announced earlier today it mediated a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, but still hours later, both countries are accusing each other of violating the peace deal. It comes as President Trump looks to add 20,000 officers to his deportation efforts. Willie James Inman has our top story tonight at 10.
The Trump administration announced Saturday that Pakistan and India have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire following talks mediated by the U.S. This came as Pakistan fired at Indian military sites early Saturday morning after accusing India of attacking its air bases. The ceasefire was confirmed by the Indian Foreign Secretary.
It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea.
Also on Saturday, the U.S. and China sat down for their first significant talks since President Trump ratcheted up tariffs on Chinese imports to 145%, and China retaliated with its own levies. The two nations met in Geneva, Switzerland. In deportation news, President Trump ordered the Department of Homeland Security late Friday to add 20,000 officers to the deportation forces of the U.S. This comes as members of the administration are considering suspending the practice of habeas corpus for migrants, a legal procedure that allows people to challenge their detention in court.
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion.
On Friday, President Trump signed an executive order providing financial incentive for migrants living in the U.S. to legally self-deport. The president said that illegal migrants can book a free flight to any country except the U.S. and warned if they do not leave, they will face severe consequences. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
Authorities find an injured person on the side of the road of an apparent crash in Rock Island County. A deadly overnight crash in Milan. Rock Island County Sheriff's deputies say they responded just before 4 a.m. to the 5100 block of Airport Road. They say they saw someone lying on the road critically injured and car debris at the scene, but no car around the area. Authorities took the victim to the nearby hospital, then to the University of Iowa, where they died, but they haven't been identified yet. The situation remains under investigation. No one was hurt when a house exploded in Muscatine early Saturday just after 6 a.m. Police responded to a couple of calls of a loud boom and smoke at a house on 8th Street about a block away from the Circle K. Fire crews saw the people from the home outside and safe. Firefighters took down the fire pretty quickly and stayed on scene until about 9 a.m. Authorities are estimating about $1,000 worth of damage, and they believe it's an isolated incident as it remains under investigation. Davenport fire crews take on what they call a structure fire near the railroad tracks this morning on West 2nd Street. Crews say a building may have been involved. They say it started just before 9:30 a.m. and smoke shot up into the air after a pile of material caught fire near the tracks. Crews say they had it under control in less than an hour. No one was injured. Well, this spring fair remains a Mother's Day weekend tradition. The Beaux Arts Fair runs for one more day at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds in Davenport. The Beaux Arts Committee hosts this and another fair to help raise money for the Figge Art Museum.
This weather is absolutely beautiful this weekend. Bring your moms out here. Show them what people can do. We have local artists and we have artists from all over.
Those artists, an oil painter named Chris Abricht. She is kicking off her art show spring and summer season and calls this one of her favorite stops, focusing on color and light, using the outdoors as inspiration.
My subject matter is not very traditional. I do a lot of whimsical swirls and kind of creating an atmosphere of wind blowing and birds singing and make it a little more fun than a very traditional painting.
And the fair continues tomorrow morning, of course, Mother's Day, from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m.
Now, your local pinpoint forecast.
And what a day to check out that beautiful artwork here in the Quad Cities on a beautiful Saturday. Things are looking good for Mother's Day too. Here's that forecast. In the afternoon, we're going to have a high of 80 degrees with a lot of sunshine. Now, if you're heading out early in the morning or just sometime in the morning, we'll say, for breakfast or for brunch or to head off to church, temperatures will start in the upper 40s, but then we're quickly into the 50s and 60s. That 80 that you see on that heart card there, that comes up in the afternoon. All right, our weather headlines. It's a great Saturday night on a nice Mother's Day weekend. We're dry for now. A couple of rain chances showing up in the 7-day forecast. Also in the 7-day forecast, we have one day when we could easily hit 90 degrees. That's our Crawford Company camera in Muscatine tonight. And here's the Centennial Bridge. But lately the lights have not been on the Centennial Bridge, so I'm not sure if they're doing a little bit of work on them or what. But if they stay off, we'll try to get that figured out. That's the nice view, though, provided by our Real Estate Exchange camera in Rock Island. And there's the Interstate 74 bridge. It's pretty rare those lights are not on, and they do look pretty good tonight for Mother's Day weekend. All right, so our temperatures have cooled down just a little bit. There's a front coming off of Lake Michigan, and the water temperature for Lake Michigan is still really pretty cool. It's early in the season, so that cools down the air, and then that air's been on the move. It's already into Princeton, Sterling, and Rockford. And in the Quad Cities, our temperature just went over the last 45 minutes from the lower 70s all the way down to 63. So here's what's up for the temperatures coming up on Sunday morning. For a little while, remember, we're in the upper 40s. Then we hit the 50s for a couple of hours. Quick little pit stop in the 60s for a couple of hours. Then it's into the 70s, and we are heading for highs that'll be in the lower 80s tomorrow. Here's the satellite and radar, and we don't have to spend a ton of time here because we just had beautiful blue skies with a lot of sunshine today. And as we check out our futurecast, it doesn't really have a ton of active weather on it for Sunday or Monday. There's a low chance for a shower or thunder shower Monday. It's a little better chance for some showers and storms later in the week. But for Sunday, there we go. We're looking pretty good. There'll be only a light wind, a couple of clouds, and a high temperature near 80. And Monday looks like it'll be similar to that also. Thursday's the day that we are looking at for a potential severe weather outbreak in the middle part of the country, and that could include right here close to home. That's Thursday. We'll keep you posted. No need to freak out or anything right now. Again, we'll keep you posted with daily updates in between now and then. 48, cooling down after midnight, and the forecast for tomorrow, Mother's Day, will go mostly sunny and warm. Well, we'll go hot on Thursday, 90, with the chance for showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be on the strong to severe side, and then it does get a little bit cooler after that, but a lot of 80s on the way. And if and when we hit that 90 on Thursday, Hami, that'll be the first time we've been in the 90s in 2025.
What a difference there, 90 to 59.
Yeah, all in the span of a few hours, and often when that happens, it's a strong cold front, and those cold fronts sometimes bring severe thunderstorms. So, like I mentioned, we'll be on the lookout for that Thursday. No need to freak out and get too worried about it just yet. A lot of things could change in between now and then, and I know the way things are these days, I don't know, some people might want you to be scared a little bit ahead of time.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not one of those people, but as we get closer to Thursday, if it does look bad, well, then I will absolutely make sure everybody's on alert.
No, and we appreciate that. In some ways, it's kind of a lost art. You know, just stay calm, you know?
Yeah. We'll get through it.
All right, thanks, Andy. Well, coming up, a soccer tournament that's bigger than just the game. Davenport North community coming together to remember the life of Mackenzie Gamble. Nick Couzin shares us that story next at 10.
Local sports on our Quad Cities News.
The Life is Bigger Than Sports soccer tournament going on over at Davenport North High School. What started as just 2 teams 7 years ago has grown to 12, honoring the life of Mackenzie Gamble, the late daughter of Wildcats head coach David Gamble, who passed away from ovarian cancer at age 21 in 2019. All proceeds from the tournament go to the University of Iowa's Dance Marathon. If you'd like to donate, Venmo David Gamble 1243.
How much the community has taken to this event. It started out with Muscatine and us 7 years ago, and now it's turned into literally 12 teams. We had a girls game this morning, and now it's literally turned into an event that at around noon today, there might have been about 2,000 people floating through here. It was just an amazing feeling. We had music. It's a community event now. It is the largest event right now in boys soccer in Iowa, besides the state tournament.
You love to see that. As a 2 seed in the CCIW tournament, Augustana softball battled back after a Thursday loss, winning 2 straight on Friday to avoid elimination, setting up a championship matchup with 2 seeded and host Illinois Wesleyan. The Vikings are back in the title game for the first time since 2014. Trying to come back in this one, bottom 2, down a run. Mackenzie Stantz at the dish, hitting a little dribbler to second, gets bobbled up, and that beats the throw to first, and tying run scores 1-1. Bottom 4, former Sherrard Tiger Tegan Ness at the dish. Ball gets by, and the Vikings capitalize on the wild pitch, trailing 3-2 in the tying run out at third. Top 5, Illinois Wesleyan executing the double steal to perfection, adding the only insurance run needed to seal the 4-2 victory, winning the CCIW tournament for the 3rd time in 4 years. With an 18-2 conference record, 43-12 overall, Blackhawk College Baseball earned the #1 seed in the Region 4 tournament after 2 wins on the home field. Friday, the Braves needing just 1 more to punch their ticket to the NJCAA College World Series. Taking on Rock Valley in one of the wildest comebacks you'll ever see. Bottom 7, down 11-6. Jeremy Cardona hitting a high fly ball to the left. That drops in, and a nice Braves friendly roll as well. The score is 2. Deficit down to 3. Next batter, Ben Sandvig, hitting one to almost the same spot. Count that for 2 more. Cardona safe at the plate. Braves down 11-10. Line keeps moving. Bo Honeycutt taking a cut up the middle. That falls in just in front of the center fielder. Good enough to tie this game. A 6-run 7th, 11th all. Bottom 8, Braves adding insurance. The brothers Figueroa hitting bombs. First it's Alvin. 2-run jack to right makes it 13-11. Oh yeah, 2 batters later, Elmer's turn. Another 2-run shot, this one to left. Blackhawk scores 10 runs over the final 2 frames and are your Region 4 champions, 15-11 over Rock Valley. For the first time since 2014, Blackhawk College Softball heading to the Division II NJCAA National Tournament next week in Oxford, Alabama. An impressive feat coming just year 2 under head coach Josh Kenner. The 5-0 win over Bryant Stratton, the 47th on the year, a new program record, fueling an even deeper Braves run.
Going into Alabama, we all know that we've had a head start winning these tournaments, and we know that we've been putting in the work for the grind, and we'll go get them down there.
I feel like just keeping up our momentum is going to all translate to our culture. Once again, I think just the bond that we have as a group is so inseparable that no matter where we're at in the country, in the state, we're going to dominate no matter what.
Play our brand of softball. Play hard, throw strikes, have great at-bats, and the rest of it takes care of itself. I can't even think about Alabama right now. I'm so happy for these guys. Can't put it into words. After we got the 2 runs in the top of the 7th, I got the first out in the bottom of the 7th. My thought process was I wanted to watch them enjoy it, and I got to do that, and I will never forget that moment.
What a time. Caitlin Clark and the Fever closing out the preseason in Atlanta against the Dream. First quarter, Clark bringing it up, knocking it down. Deep 3, Fever up 16-14. More in the second, Clark around the screen, another one. Deep 3, Fever up 24-16. Still in the second, Clark, step back, hand in the face. Money, Indiana up 42-40 at half. Third quarter opening possession, Clark to the rim with ease. 13 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds for the former Hawkeye. Former Cyclone, how about this? Ashley Jones, playing for Atlanta, buries the 3 in the fourth. Jones scores 5 and released after the game. A tough road in the W out there. Very few roster spots available. Fever win 81-76. 2022 first-round pick of the Cubs, Cade Horton's Major League debut in the Big Apple against the Mets. Bottom 2 gets Brendan Nimmo looking first out of the inning, first career punch-out. That was good. Now here's the bad. Bottom 4, left fielder Brett Beatty leaving the yard last night, setting another into that Queen's air. The first and only mistake Horton made all night. Cubs lead to 1, top 5. The tying run on second. Horton forces Pete Alonso to line out. Horton 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts. Top 8, Cubs need insurance. Catcher Miguel Amaya delivers it. 2-out single through the left side. 2-run score. 6-3 Cubs. Bottom 9, Porter Hodge on for the save. Has the $765 million man Juan Soto grounding out to second to end it. Cubs even up the set 6-5. Cardinals going for 7 wins in a row in the nation's capital. Top 7, a Cards RBI party. Catcher Pedro Pajes starts things off. RBI single to right, 1-0 STL. Next up, center fielder Victor Scott. RBI single to left, 2-0 Cards. Left fielder Lars Nootbaar, you guys had one. I'll take 2 RBI on that double. 4-0 Redbirds. Bottom 3. Let's go to some pitching. Andres Palante dealing. Strikes out Jacob Young, looking out number 1. Bottom 5, Palante gets Dylan Cruz swinging to end it. 7 1/3, 7 Ks, 2 earned for Palante. Bottom 9, Nationals, bases loaded. Ryan Helsley in for the save, and no problem. CJ Abrams flies out to end the game, and the Cards win 4-2. That's 7 wins in a row. MLB's 39th ranked prospect Tim Elko making his MLB debut, starting at first and hitting 8th for the Sox against the Marlins. Bottom 1, DH Andrew Vaughn for the 2nd straight night, leaving the yard. 5th of the season, average up to 190, entered the month at 162. Yikes. Sox up 1-0. Same score. Top 7th, right fielder Kyle Stowers ties it up for the Fish. This one off Steven Wilson. Stowers 7th of the year, and it's 1 apiece. Top 8, 2 up. Brennan Eisert in for relief for Jordan Leisure. Nothing Leisure about this out there, and can't get it. Michael Taylor can't in center, and Eric Wegeman out to left center, and that is a triple. That brings in the 2 go-ahead runs for the Marlins to take this one 3-1 on the south side. Steamers had their first loss of the year on the road to conference rival Green Bay, 47-25. River Bandits not having a great day as well, just 1 run in their loss to Lake County captains Hami. So first loss for the Steamwheelers, 10th loss in 21 games for the Bandits, so still pretty good there, but not everything's going to be perfect.
Sometimes you lose. There's no shame in losing a couple games in a row.
And it's a long season, too, as well.
Long season, and these teams will get back into it. They seem like they're having a pretty good start to the season so far. Just got to get back to refocusing, and I think that's just what they're going to do.
Right mindset, that's how it is.
That's right. Well, that's half the battle. Thanks, Nick. Well, still ahead, a couple of nuns in the QCA shared their ties to the newly elected Pope. Plus, what controversies are tied to Pope Leo XIV? That's next at 10. Well, you may have heard by now, the first North American Pope is from Illinois and even has a local connection to nuns out in Clinton. One with the Sisters of St. Francis worked with Pope Leo XIV in Peru. Our very own Gavin Wadlake has the story.
We shared a common table, so I was with him at least twice a day at our meals, and so I got to know him very, very well.
Sister Phyllis Morris of the Sisters of St. Francis in Clinton worked decades ago with the recently selected Pope Leo XIV.
He spoke several languages, like 6 or 7 languages, and he was very bright, brilliant guy, really.
He started work in Peru in 1985 and was chosen by Pope Francis to be Bishop of Chiclayo in 2014.
He was a serious guy, but he was also very pleasant and very funny and easy to get on with, warm and very approachable.
Across 3 decades, he worked in both Peru and the U.S., giving him worldly experience.
Part of the reason probably why he was chosen was because he is global. He has only lived part of his life in the U.S.
Morris says the people he served in Peru remember him fondly.
People in Peru remember him very, very well. I've heard from several of them. This one friend that calls me on the phone, and she immediately called and said how happy she was. This morning I got a letter from one of my former students, and he was ecstatic, of course, expounding about Pope Bob Prevost. Wow, something for the Peruvian people.
In Clinton, Gavin Wadlick, our Quad Cities News.
Now, in that same vein, a victim's attorney speaks on the newly elected popes handling previous abuse claims and the Augustinian order. Paris Schutz reports from Chicago.
Chicago-based victims attorney Mark Perlman says the Augustinian order has one of the worst track records when it comes to transparency around accused priests. And they say then Father Robert Prevost's leadership of the order was no exception.
Under his watch, the Augustinians were neither transparent or compassionate when it comes to victims of sex abuse.
Perlman says he's represented dozens of alleged victims with cases against Augustinian priests that overlap with Prevost's time as leader of the Chicago and then International Order. Perlman says parents wrote a letter between 2006 and 2010 warning about alleged misconduct by Reverend Richard McGrath, who ran Providence High School in New Lenox. He says no action was taken. McGrath was later removed after accusations he was looking at child pornography on his phone during school activity, followed by a $2 million settlement to victims of child sex abuse.
The way they handle these cases, the way they didn't put out any list, the way they haven't reported on McGrath is indicative of how they truly feel and how they actually treat sex abuse victims.
Sun-Times investigative reporter Robert Hergith has been looking into the Augustinian order for several years. He says Prevost has come under scrutiny for sending another accused priest, Father James Ray, to live in a Hyde Park residence near a school without warning that a sex offender was in the neighborhood.
What was his role in allowing a priest to move into one of his monasteries near a school without notifying the school?
In a statement this afternoon, attorneys for the Augustinian order say the Archdiocese signed off on Ray's move and, quote, there was no school in the vicinity of the friary. The statement goes on to say that Prevost took allegations of child sex abuse seriously. Quote, he has taken steps to protect minors and vulnerable adults in numerous countries, always seeking to protect the innocent and offer healing to victims while removing offenders from ministry. While Perlman gives Prevost failing grades for transparency, he says he still has hopes the new pope will do the right thing as leader of the worldwide Catholic Church.
Stop treating victims like they're the enemy. Start being transparent and do things to show compassion for these people whose lives have been destroyed.
And also this evening, leaders of the survivors network of those abused by priests say they are, quote, gravely concerned about Leo XIV's papacy, claiming there are multiple allegations under Prevost's leadership that deserve investigation. But to be clear, Prevost himself has never been accused of misconduct.
That was Paris Schutz reporting. We will wrap up the show with our Chief Meteorologist Andy McCray and Nick Couzin, the sports anchor, right after this on your local news at 10. But one last look outside. Let's take a look at that Mother's Day preview.
All right, well, I've got the 10-day forecast pulled up, and it shows Mother's Day right there on day one because it is tomorrow. We'll have some sunshine and a high of 80. Rain chances are low Monday, Tuesday. Temperatures are high, especially Thursday, 90 for the first time this year.
Looking good. And again, if you haven't heard it from anyone else, we'll tell you, Happy Mother's Day, mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties, everyone. Happy Mother's Day, even cat moms. Have a great night, everyone.